This is part 5 of the Earth's Resources topic on GCSE AQA Chemistry. It's a dual award topic, which means triple award students also need to learn what's on here. Going to recommend that you have a go at the activities as we go through, and in this video we're going to focus on life cycle assessments. Now I'm going to do this as a general overview. The best way to deal with these is to look at the past paper questions that do come up with it. But we're going to look at some simple comparative life cycle assessments for plastic and paper bags and for reusable and disposable cups. And we need to then be able to look at how to interpret life cycle assessments when appropriate information is provided. So let's take a look. When we consider a life cycle assessment, we are considering what has happened in getting the raw materials, in processing the raw materials, the energy requirements for making the product and for making the packaging, how reusable something is or how well maintained it will be. Will it be thrown away after one go? Or indeed, how long will you be able to use it until it's disposed of? So, raw material extraction, manufacture, use, reuse and maintenance, and recycling and waste management. So let's look very, very simply at a reusable plastic cup against a single-use plastic cup. I've got a table coming up and have a think about which would be the better choice based solely on that criteria. Well, if we take a look at raw material extraction, disposable cups are smaller, there's less plastic, so that would be less expensive. Manufacture would also be less expensive for a single-use cup. So at the moment, single-use cup looks like it's winning. But let's look at usability, reusability and maintenance. A reusable cup can be cleaned, it can be used again and again and again, but we can only use a single-use cup once and then we throw it away and we pick up another one. So I suppose we're now thinking about how many single-use cups are you replacing with your reusable cup. And then recycling and waste management. There is less to recycle and dispose of with the reusable cup because you will only dispose of it after many, many uses. The actual volume of plastic will be much, much higher for the replacement disposable cups that you would use instead of it. So if I look through and decide which ones win, I would say that's a 2-all draw. However, I think 2 of them are much more important. So I've made the judgment here that I would choose the multiple use cup. It's more expensive to make, but it's cheaper and less energy per use of cup, and that would be enough to win me over. That means it's better economically, it's better in terms of environment and energy use and emission of greenhouse gases. Let's take a look at another example, plastic and paper bags. So it might be that the supermarket wants to decide which one they are going to use. What sort of considerations might we make? Well, plastic comes from a non-renewable resource, paper from renewable, comes from trees. Plastic has higher energy costs, I would argue, but I'm basing that purely on my own ideas. It might be that a table of data would be given to you in a question, and paper can definitely be recycled and is biodegradable, whereas plastic might be recyclable and is not biodegradable. Now, one way that you might deal with this is to give them a score out of 10 for environmental impact. I'm not going to do that for you now, but let's have a think about why it might not be the most effective approach. And when you think about it, it is just a number, and it's a number we're making up. There's no sound scientific basis for that number. It lacks detail, and there are many other implications to consider. What choice would you make for the supermarket? Explain your reasoning. I'm not going to give you an answer because you could justify either. In an exam question, it would be about you justifying your choice based on the information provided and based on your wider knowledge. And what other factors might you need to consider? Well, the one that immediately springs to mind is, would shoppers be willing to use paper bags? Might they be worried that they'll get wet and fall apart? Might they worry they're not strong enough? So you'd have to consider far more than just data provided. That takes us to the end of this video. Thank you for listening and goodbye.